Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be taking you guys through exactly how I put together all of this lighting and how it's wired into the back of my 4Runner's electrical system that I installed. So one of the things I first want to start saying is this is the old light. It came in a pack of 2. They were $11 on Amazon for a pack of 2. I'm gonna tell you right now, I did never like these lights. Whenever you turned it on and it had this high-pitched noise, it was mounted with these brackets right there. So that's why I used these holes. I just kind of drilled them out a little bit larger, the wires, and one of them was already drilled out quite a bit, so that's why it's not perfect. But don't recommend this. It's on Amazon. Okay, so the lights that I did use for this are for turning signals for the side of a truck. They're 48-inch white LED and amber LED with 3M on the back. You got 2 wires, right? Red is white, yellow is amber, this is ground. This is exactly how it comes. So I didn't use this one on this application. So now I'm going to start taking you through some of how it's all installed. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is get yourself a little flathead screwdriver or something to easily pry that out. Next up, you'll take a 10mm. You're going to pull that bolt out that's holding that strap in. After that, what you can do is come around here, start to work this panel down all around it. These little tabs that keep it in place. Okay. Now, I'll show you what I can see in here. Okay, so, and we will continue going inside here, but this is kind of how everything is plugged in. So my ground, I simply have a spade connector and it's grounded out to the body. The wiring for this, so this is coming into the light. I didn't want to cut any of the extra, just left it how it was. So anyway, the red and the black, they're deceiving. It's not a ground and it's not a positive. One's a positive for white, one's a positive for amber. So with that in mind, just understand that's how this switch works, right? So right now, clicking this first switch, I've got power coming in to all of my panels, or all of these switches, right? So fresh water, here's my fresh water line. So I power that, and that plugs in right there. So we don't need him. But this backlight here, so up, which fires up the white light, all the way down fires up the amber. So basically what this is doing is there's 3 contacts in that switch. The middle one is where your positive goes. A lot of big trucks driving around today. Okay, so like I was saying, all right, so red, remember, is my white, and yellow is my amber. This is my ground. Okay, so the red wire on these 2 little dots is going into this red, right, which fires up the white. Amber just goes to the black wire. Okay, so the switch that I used is called a 3-pole switch. You've got an off in the middle, 1 and a 2. Okay, so how I have this wired up inside of my little panel here that I'll show you in a few minutes is the positive comes into the center, and then I have a white wire coming out, and I have a yellow or an amber wire coming out. All right, so it just depends on which circuit continues on. Does that make sense? Okay, so these are great. I picked these little switches up on Amazon, probably about a year ago, because I wanted to make this project happen, but I had never gotten around to it. So this switch panel I got on Amazon too. You guys are going to be able to find those very easily. So the main one coming in for electronics, right, feeds into my center on the contact. Push up, now my white light is illuminated. Push down, now my amber light is illuminated. Super easy, it fits right in there. So that's why I went with those. Right, so now for taking this thing apart, simply pull that ground out and unclip my quick connect here. And I pop this thing out, just like that. So now you can see how this is all kind of situated. Here's all that wiring we were just looking at. If you're wondering about all this Reflectix insulation, it's all from when I first got this truck. I took everything out of here, all the seats, all the carpet, all the trim, and I Reflectixed everything I could get my hands on until I ran out. So I've done everything but the headliner. Perhaps one day that's something that I end up doing to kind of keep the temperature down and keep it equalized in here. But I'm not necessarily camping inside here like I was, so doesn't really matter to me that much. Maybe one day I get around to it. I don't really need to. Okay, so moving forward, your next step is going to be start pulling apart these connectors. Grab your 10mm and start running around and grabbing all these. Got all of the big trucks in the neighborhood today running around, so I apologize for all the background noise that's going on. Okay, so now what I like to do to get all these out is I start to pry. There's a little wire loom holder in here. I'll get in here and I'll kind of pry that out. Okay, didn't say it was easy, right? And that's this guy. So we'll take him out. The next one I do is I just unclip that switch from its holder there. All right, so now I've got all my wires dangling. So if you made it this far and you're watching this video and you're doing this, you're gonna notice that you don't have a fancy green wire in here. Okay, so this old light that I showed you at the beginning of the video, that I already threw away, I hooked up to, looks like there's a blue wire. This connector has a pink and black, a pink and white, or pink and green, and a blue wire going to it. So that blue wire is a positive. That's on the starter battery. So one of the things that I didn't want to do was have this light on the start battery. I wanted to have it on the auxiliary battery, so I just didn't have to worry about it at all. I know it's super efficient and it's not using a lot of power, but one thing I didn't want was to be running off that anymore. I just coiled it up and I pulled the fuse out in the event that I come back in here one day and I want to run on that battery something else that's up here. So you won't have that. If you want to find an easier way, that's it. Blue wire is your positive 12 volts all the time. So this light had a switch on it. So my ground was this, right? Simple spade connector. My positive was this, which fed into that. So this ground used to be bolted up over here and would come out, and that's how this ran. I didn't like it running on that battery. I didn't like that this made a high-pitched noise, so I got rid of it. Okay, so now that we've got all of our connections off and we've got all of our 10mm bolts pulled out, go ahead and start to pull gently on this. There you go. And these will just pop out. At least they should. Now my plate is free. Okay, so something that I did is I used a step drill bit and I drilled into here and I put a grommet in, right? The whole reason for that is to feed this wire through. All right, so this is my, like I said earlier, black is my amber power and red is my white power. Okay, also in here, I fed this down. See, I can't find something to light this up. There we go. Okay, so right in that back corner where that wire loom is coming through is where I ran these wires. So these wires are running down into this grommet and across here. Okay, so another old thing that I did is I had cut holes in this grommet, and I wish I hadn't have. And that's where I had my reverse camera and all that stuff feeding through, and then it tucked up into here and ran along. And you can fit some wires between the window and the hatch here. So that's what I had done before. Well, if you've got a 3rd gen and your defrost doesn't work, or you're starting to have problems with anything on this back door, there's a strong chance that right here at the 90-degree bend, your wires are drying and cracking and shorting out on each other. So I had an issue with my defrost this winter. So while I was in here, I went ahead and took the time. I cut this all apart on both sides. I found the problem wires, I taped them up, and so that's no longer touching each other, they're all fixed up. Well, while I did that, I also fed the wires for everything. My reverse camera and my lighting. I ran them all through this grommet and snaked them through this. Okay. So coming in here today, I noticed last night during testing that I needed more little sticky clamps. All right, so I've got this bag of 3M clamps for wire. They're great. So you can see a couple of them in there. There's 2 right there. There's 1. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these out of their way. Hopefully that fixes my issue, because I think what I'm hearing is that when this window is coming down, it's touching this. So I'm gonna go ahead and tuck those up out of the way, maybe put a zip tie or something on here. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna fix that today. So I'm taping these connections up, so that way, in the event that any moisture or water gets down in between the window or anything like that, they don't corrode or anything of the sort. So, placed 1 clip in here so far. Clip that up. This is probably what I'm going to do right here. Just run the zip tie. Cinch that up. So it looks like that's a power cable as well as a cable sorts. Looks like that's the locking mechanism. No, that's the lock. I'm not sure what that is. Must be something for the window. Either way, I don't think it'll cause any harm. Trim that off. Cool. I got my wires out of the way. My clamps are secure. Looks like it's gonna be time to go ahead and start reinstalling. And by the way, another fun thing while you're in here, grease these gears. I used some WD-40 white lithium grease to grease those out, and it seemed to really help the window out a lot. It seems to go down much easier. So, just something to think about while you're in here. All right, so now it's time to put this panel back on. All right, you've got, at least for me, I've got 3 tabs. I've got one right here at the top, and I've got 2 at the bottom of the door. All right, so I'm gonna place my one tab in. Insert my wire through this grommet. Push that in. Pop that, and there you go. And that's good enough. So I've got my wire ran through here. Now it's going to be time to start connecting all these. Okay. All right, so this one simply feeds on here, clicks into place. You plug that guy in. It would be the same case on this one had I not broke it before. So he just kind of gets plugged in. It would appear that all of my prying has, just some of it ruined that tape there. So add some more. Retape this up there. Doesn't gotta be pretty, guys. Only one that's gonna see this is you. Pop that back into its little hole. Plug the window regulator in. Now I'm gonna tuck this wire up and out of the way. Good go. All right, guys. So now that we've got the connections made up, we've got all these popped into place, the 3 of them. Take your 10mm bolts, screws, and you start to put them in. Alright, so now that we've got the panel installed, your connectors in, all your little push pins and all your connectors plugged in together, your wires ran through your grommet. Okay, now it's going to be time to start putting on this trim panel. Alright, so how you do this is you kind of set it up. You're trying to feed it down in. Just like that. You'll know it's good when the panel is just able to hang on its own. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to come around here, we're going to make our connections. Alright, so plug in my little quick connect here, plug my ground wire in, kind of tuck that up and out of the way. your way around the panel, pushing all those in. Let's test it. White, amber, good to go. All right, next up, grab your 10mm bolt. Install this. The flat side goes towards the window, and the tipped pointed side of this goes towards the bottom of the tailgate. Pop this back in, just like that. You're good to go. Okay, so first I just want to say thank you for the continued support that you guys are doing. It's out of control on Instagram. I never would have thought, you know, almost a year ago when I first started doing this, that it was ever going to become where it is. Who knows where it's going to keep going. So thank you very much for still liking, commenting, all that good stuff. I really appreciate all 48 subscribers I have right now. Thank you. Hopefully this just continues to grow, and I really enjoy having you guys and the want and desire for you guys to see how I'm doing this stuff, what I'm doing. So today I just wanted to take the time, go back through this, and show you how I did it. Thank you. One thing I gotta say is stay safe out there. Make sure that your friends and family are staying safe, and we can all get through this COVID-19 nonsense soon enough. So thanks a lot, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thanks again.